We're live, baby.
Hello, Ziad.
Bruno, thanks for being here, buddy.
Hey, it's my pleasure and honor.
And I know you just came off a set last night,
Yes, I did.
4 a.m. and then here for 2. So
Yeah.
thank you, man.
Yeah. Can you tell I was up till 4 a.m.?
To be honest, man, you look good. So I don't know how you do it, man. When I come back from DJing, I'm a write-off for like 2 days. Even now, I don't even feel fully recovered.
Wow.
But introduce yourself. Let us know who you are, what you do, what your passion is, how many kids you have.
Sure. My name's Bruno Falvo. My DJ name is simple, DJ Bruno. And I've been married 33 years approximately. Have 2 lovely girls, 2 daughters. And been DJing since approximately 1978.
Crazy, before I was born.
Yeah.
Wild, man.
You were an amoeba.
Totally. I want to say you probably have the longest running residency in just DJ career besides like people like Manzone and Strong and stuff like
In
that.
Toronto, probably.
For sure, man.
Probably, yeah. And by the way, I'm very good friends with both.
Shout
Joe
out
Manzone
to Manzone and Strong.
and Fabian. Yeah. Hey, guys.
That's
Fabian and Joe.
awesome.
Yeah.
How do you do it?
How do I do it? You know what? I actually have always had a passion for being able to motivate a crowd to have fun. That's my rush. So when I see the crowd reacting to a song or to a mix I just did, that gives me a rush. It really does. You know, I don't do it for the money. I don't really need the money. It's fun. It's a rush. And I can't sit on a Saturday night and do nothing at home and watch the Leafs lose. You know what I mean?
I hear you.
So
Yesterday was embarrassing, man.
Yeah, it was
That was
embarrassing.
wild.
Yeah.
But how old were you when you first started DJing?
When I first started DJing, I was 17-ish. I was getting into the late stages of high school.
Yeah.
And got into doing high school dances. And then it morphed from there. I just kept doing more and more dances, weddings, and then got into clubs.
When was your first club and which club was it?
First nightclub, wow, 1981, approximately, because I remember that vividly because I also joined my first DJ pool.
Cool.
You may not remember what those are.
Yeah.
It was well before these online DJ music services, but it was actual pool.
Played a record?
No, this was called Cheer DJ Pool.
Cool.
Yeah, and it was that same time I joined Cheer as a DJ member. I started my first nightclub in Mississauga, and it was called Shambles.
Wow, okay.
Yes, it was a roadhouse type of place.
Was it near Club 108, like that side
It
of
was
Mississauga?
at Highway 10 and Dundas.
Okay.
So 5 and 10, they call it.
Cool.
In Mississauga. Yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah, and that was cool. It was, and back then, how things have changed. Back then, bars and clubs had something going on every night of the week. Okay.
Industry night.
And it'd be busy.
Yeah.
It'd be busy. They would have DJs working every night of the week. Now, you're lucky if you get a Friday, Saturday. The rest of the week, there's not much going on. Although there's industry nights going on Tuesdays, but other than that, it's very different.
So did you work a full-time job while DJing at
Always.
that time? Yeah.
Always, yeah.
And then you went to university?
I went to university, and then from there went into the banking world, and was still DJing the whole time.
Do you feel it ever affected your work?
Absolutely.
Okay. Like, would you come to like work just
Absolutely.
tired?
When I did the odd Thursday night at Palazzo, for example,
Oh, man.
and that was a big night back then in the early 90s, I'd have to fight to stay awake Friday morning
Yeah.
and hide the night from my face,
seriously.
It wasn't easy. But you were younger. I was younger then, right? So you could tolerate a little more abuse to your body back then. There was a time when I was doing Thursday night, Friday in Hamilton at Monopoly, and then back to Palazzo on Saturdays. 3 nights in a row.
All the same genre, or was it like different?
Thursday nights was more of a collegiate crowd. Okay, a lot of the university and college students would come out, so I'd mix in a lot more hip hop, some rock back then.
Cool.
There was the big grunge movement back then, so the rock stuff was popular, and then obviously the dance music, right? So it was a different crowd. Friday and Saturday was strictly dance at the other clubs. Yeah.
Was it more fun back then than it is now?
Yeah. Can I tell you why?
Tell me.
Because nowadays people spend way too much time staring at their phones.
That's true.
Okay, and taking selfies and doing these things with their phones, videotaping the crowd.
Sure.
They're not actually socializing and partying the way they used to decades ago. People still have fun.
Yep.
Don't get me wrong. I'm guilty as well. I sometimes take video shots of what's happening where I'm DJing, but there are some people that just spend the whole night staring at their phones. Why are you here? Why are you here? Get a drink, party,
Different life now.
socialize, have some fun.
That must have been wild, eh? Just a different, like, no social media.
Seeing all the, seeing the transition, even from records to CDs.
So you're playing vinyl.
I was playing vinyl.
So how does a DJ pool look like when it's vinyl? Like,
That's a very good question. We used to actually have weekly meetings at various clubs.
Cool.
So there'd be like 50 or 60 members of this DJ pool. We'd meet around 1 o'clock in the afternoon at a place.
yeah.
And record company label representatives would come in with arms full of records, and they'd be handing them out to us as promo copies. And that's how we got a lot of our music. And then we'd also go visit our favorite music store downtown, Plady Record.
Yeah.
Hi, Eugene. You there, Eugene? We loved Eugene. And buy our stuff there, too. So it was coming from two sources. It would come from a record pool and from stores. Star Sound was another one back then, further north on Yonge Street.
I guess you needed like a big car to bring all these crates.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
I don't miss that. I used to have to carry 6 to 8 milk crates. Remember the milk crates of records to wherever I was playing.
And they were expensive. The vinyls in general.
Very. The average piece of vinyl back then was about $8 each song.
Crazy.
So you're buying one song for $8.
Yeah, and I think now when we play, I'm playing maybe, if I'm lucky, 20 to 30 songs an hour times 5 hours.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot of music
Yeah.
and a lot of money. Now you're spending pennies.
Yeah, and you got to search for it too.
Yes, you got to
Put
search
it back into the sleeve.
them. Yeah. Mark all the outside. Did you ever mark the outside with a little tag of BPMs?
I never spun vinyl. I bought vinyl.
Oh, you never spun it. Okay.
I bought vinyl once and I totally regret it. I bought it off a website, but it was UK. So when I paid for it, it was in pounds and I ended up spending like $4,000 on it. But what I did was I'd get exclusive mixes and just record them to digital.
Okay.
And that's what I did.
Okay.
But then I sold them all.
Yep. And what else was going on back then? When I started DJing in the late 70s, there was no pitch control on the turntables.
Okay.
Okay. We didn't have that luxury till 81, 82, just when I started breaking into the club world.
So did you have to?
You had to do it with your hands.
Oh, okay.
You had to speed up the record with your hand. And the way the turntables were designed, they were called belt drive turntables. Cool. So it's a little rubber belt wrapped around a cylinder, and that made it spin around, and you controlled speed with a knob, 33 and 45, right? Cool. And you'd have to actually, to beat mix, you'd have to take the top of your hand, run it across the vinyl, and speed it up. And I could still do it.
Cool.
I've done it when I stopped playing vinyl was about, when was it? Probably 96 I stopped playing, 95, 96. But I remember showing DJs how I was able to beat match with my hands, and like, how do you do that?
Wild, man. Good for
That's
you.
the way I was taught, right? That's the way I
legend
learned.
right here, guys.
So yeah, it was very different back then.
So when was it that you had kids in, like, when you were DJing?
My first child, Cassandra, was born 1994. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how was it DJing and coming home, I guess?
Very difficult. So you have a daughter.
Yeah.
Okay. You have a beautiful daughter, and she demands your time.
It's true.
Right?
Yep.
She's tugging on you, daddy this and daddy that. And that's the way it was. So I'd come home 4 a.m, go to bed, and by 8 o'clock, she'd be at my bedside staring at me, waiting for me to wake up, right? And then she'd start, touching me and touching my nose, trying to get me to wake up. And so I've had literally 4 hours of sleep, and I'd have to now play with her.
Yeah.
Okay. And when the second child came along, Catherine, 1998, man, it got even more challenging.
Double trouble.
Because now I got a 4-year-old who's increasingly demanding,
Yeah.
and a newborn.
And you're working still.
Still working full
And
time.
You're married and you have
Yeah.
family stuff. So
Yeah.
that's what I mean. Like, how did you do it?
I don't know. I really don't know. You just do it. You
Yeah.
just do it. You just kind of like, you bear down and you do it. And I think back now and I'm wondering, that was hard times. I didn't get a lot of rest on the weekends, you know?
Did it ever
really
make
didn't.
you stop DJing? Like, did you stop at one point
No,
because of
the
it?
only time I ever paused was during the lockdowns.
Oh, wow.
That was the only
Good
time.
for you, man.
Otherwise, I was always working through the whole tenure. Yeah.
If you only knew around, like in my head, contemplation station, I'm always like, I can't do this. Like, I cannot, like, I value sleep,
We have to. We all have to value sleep.
but I'm like, and also nobody realizes DJing is lonely. Driving to the club is lonely. Being there by yourself, although you're surrounded with so many people, and then the drive home, it's like lonely. Sometimes I don't even want to go.
Yeah.
Right. So
But right now, when I go home at 3:30 in the morning, it's my time.
yeah,
I actually
true.
enjoy it.
Yes.
It's quiet. It's peaceful.
sure.
I'll listen to some soft music or maybe another podcast, and I love it.
But you don't have kids to wake you up now.
No, I don't. Yeah, now they're kind of, they want me out of their lives. Sorry, ladies. But yeah, it was really thinking back. I don't know how I did it. I just did it. You just do it, like Nike used to say. Just do it. Right?
Sure.
You just get up and do it.
That's
You know?
like, seems like burnout, especially with work and organizing music. Like, I don't know about other DJs, but if I'm DJing on Friday, I spend the whole week, you know, just downloading new music, seeing what's
Yeah.
out, what I think is going to work. It's not just DJing that night
No.
from 10 to 2:30 or whatever,
No.
right? So
No,
it takes a lot of your time.
And this is what owners of clubs don't appreciate. You don't just work 4 hours a week.
Sure.
You are spending the entire week trying to figure out what you did wrong at that 1.5 hour set last Saturday, number one.
Yep.
Or what you didn't play that you should have played. What's hot now?
Yep.
What are the top 40 tracks globally that you have to download, make sure you have for this coming Saturday?
Yeah.
You know, all that works. It takes time. It takes time. And as you know, you got to format music files now
Yeah.
to put them on your computer, set up cue points, all that crap, right? You know, it's almost a full-time job.
Can I just say I never do cue points?
You don't do.
No, sometimes I'll do it on the spot, but
Wow.
yeah, I don't have time to just
I
do
love
that.
cue points. I think they're great.
Yeah, yeah.
We used to have them in the vinyl world too.
Was it like a piece of white sticker?
It was a white
right?
sticker, yeah.
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 That's cool.
On the vinyl, yeah.
So
Ruined it, but
So how do you manage? Okay, so I was telling you on Friday, I cleared the dance floor. How do you manage that stress and like how do you get them back when there's so many influence of different requests coming at you at once? Like for me, it scares the living hell out of me
Yeah.
when because especially when you have two rooms and two sounds, they'll leave you in 2 seconds to go to the other room.
yes, they will. Yes, they will.
How do you, first of all, not let it affect you? Let's just say, what do you do?
So that's the biggest fear of all DJs when they're working is that the dance floor suddenly clears.
Yeah.
Couple things to consider. Number one, owners don't mind. Club owners don't mind. You know why? When people are dancing, they're not drinking,
Sure.
so they're not making money.
That's true.
So don't panic.
Okay.
It's okay.
Okay.
It's okay to clear the floor once in a while, but it's not always a good thing either, especially with a very full nightclub. You want it to be bouncing. Okay.
Of course.
In fact, one of my rules that I live by is no matter how many people are in the bar or club, I get them dancing as fast as I can.
Yeah.
That way, when people are walking in, they see a party going on right away.
Yeah.
Okay, but in terms of dealing with people walking off the dance floor and going to another room, always have songs ready that you know are going to get them back.
I have an emergency crate.
There you go.
That is just like
That's
you
your
drop it.
go-to.
You don't have to look
Yeah.
for it. It's there. You drop it.
So
and
you got
it's-
it. Yeah, that's what I do. I have an emergency crate of I call them in my crate list. I call them top cats.
Cool.
And
I like
that's,
that.
Yeah, and that's where I go to if something happens, because I know they're going to work. Okay, so yeah, that's how you deal with a clearing dance
All right.
floor.
I took my notes, man. even though there's like instant hits, it still takes time to like get that vibe going again and that
For sure.
momentum, right? So
For sure.
I don't know. Sometimes it just drives me nuts because usually the people who request songs, don't even know what they want. I'd have people requesting songs that's literally just playing. I'm like, that Bruno Mars is playing right now. Like, what are you doing? So it's,
Can you play a song? Well, it's playing right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's on.
can we just say that this is not an 1 hour hourglass?
Oh, you know what?
It's time's up, baby.
No, you know what I did? I reset it when you walked out for a bit.
Oh, did you? Okay,
Yeah.
okay. I was
So
like, that
let's-
was fast.
That's okay.
And can we give a shout out to Graham? This is a sick studio. It's pretty awesome.
I
man.
love this place.
Yeah, it's pretty dope.
We're at Toronto Podcast Studios. It's awesome.
I love it.
Awesome on Cherry Street. I used to do raves down here
Oh, cool.
back in the early 90s.
So you probably get home like later than 4 o'clock.
Oh my God. Raves back then, you wouldn't get notified on the location till the night of. Okay. So then you'd meet at Union Station at the front and they'd hand out flyers to everybody. And this is where you go.
Cool.
And then you go there and it was insanity. Like there was actually a building right down the street. Just picture this massive factory that's abandoned.
Yeah.
It's just a big empty warehouse full of temporary lights,
Cool.
massive sound system, this huge scaffolding system with the DJ booth up top, and people just going mental, raving on techno. Back then it was called techno music, right? And yeah, it was quite the experience. And I used to get home, the sun was up.
Yeah.
7, 8 in the morning. Oh yeah. So before kids.
Yeah.
Once we had kids, I stopped doing that. There was no way.
over.
There's no way.
Does it scare you, or did it scare you, like having, especially girls? That must be different than having boys and raising them, and just so much worry. How did you manage that?
Okay, so you're a father of a daughter,
Yeah,
and you're heading in that direction
I'm
because she's
scared,
still,
man.
yeah,
Like,
she's a toddler now.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I have
when you-
time, but I want to, and then I don't know if you can prep for that. But
You can't. What you have to remember when girls get into their teens, they change.
Yeah,
You head into an era in your life as a father, not so much with your wife and a mother, but as a father, you head into an era with girls where they want nothing to do with you.
okay,
They don't listen to you. They don't want your guidance.
Yeah.
They know everything. And my daughters went through it too. I had some difficulty with the oldest because I'd never experienced it before.
sure.
And then when Catherine got to that age, I dealt with it differently. But it was not easy.
Can I
We
just
got into a lot of fights.
Can I just say, I heard a stat that said 70% of the time you'll spend with your kid will be between when they're born and when they're 12.
Absolutely.
So embrace it all.
Absolutely. And because it's a blur, it's just going to go by so quickly.
Yeah.
The one piece of advice I can give to you from what I learned is trust your daughter.
Okay.
If you've raised her to believe in the right things,
Yeah.
to behave the right way, and not to do bad things or any way you want to put it, trust her.
So the thing is, how do you do it without sounding like naggy? Because, you want to naturally kind of raise them right and teach them between right and wrong. But how do you, what do you do? Like, what do you say even?
Show interest in what they're doing. So if they've
Okay.
met a new friend, tell us about your new friend. What's he or she like? What are their parents like? Can we meet them? Get involved in their lives instead of trying to be too authoritarian
Okay.
with children, because that's what pushes them away. Okay, if you trust them and get involved in what they're doing and show interest,
Yeah.
they're going to trust you, and they're going to tell you more too about trials and tribulations, about
Sure.
things that they want to share with you that some daughters may hide from other parents, right?
So 2 questions here. The first one, I always heard, always give your child the opportunity to always tell you the truth and promise them that they would never get in trouble. That way they'll always come to you. And I think my second question was, I don't remember that one.
Oh, it's okay.
When it comes back,
It's
I'll
the
let you
age.
know. Yeah, seriously. Yeah. But, sleepovers. Did you ever allow sleepovers?
Encourage it. I encourage.
Really?
Yes.
I heard the opposite, man.
No.
I heard the opposite.
You know what? Again, you're blocking your kids. Okay.
Okay.
I would suggest you don't do that. And you want to meet their friends.
Sure.
So when my kids had parties and sleepovers, I used to get involved, say hello, serve drinks and stuff.
Different story.
Yeah.
So my parents were like that. We were allowed to have sleepovers, people coming to our house, but we were never allowed to go to other people's house. Yeah, never, man. Oh, it was, yeah.
Wow. Okay, so
Unless it was family, unless it was cousins,
okay,
that was that. No sleepovers.
yeah. The other thing I will tell you, and this is going to go down a different rabbit hole, is I was lucky that my daughters were both born on the cusp of when social media became so huge.
Got it.
They're on the cusp of it. Okay, so they're not so.
They played outside.
Yeah, they played outside. They got dirty.
Cool.
They came home with scraped knees once in a
Yeah.
while, and it's okay, right?
Yeah.
It's all right. Your body's got to heal on its
Totally.
own. You're going to build up your immunity. It's all good. It's fine. They didn't live a sanitized world the way some children are growing up today.
Yeah.
They're living in a sanitized world. It's not necessarily a good thing. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a nutritional expert, but I could tell you I've got a really wicked immune system
Yeah.
because I grew up in that world where we played outside till dark.
Sure.
My dad used to come to the park where we used to live and yell at us to get the hell home.
Yeah.
And because it was too dark, and we'd go home, and that would be it. So we weren't on our iPads or on social media or watching Netflix for hours on end. We were playing outside.
Got it.
Socialize. That's socializing.
That's it. The real
right?
social media.
Social media has made us all antisocial.
Yeah.
Because we don't know how to talk to each other anymore, right?
It's true.
So luckily my daughters grew up right on the cusp where it started to become a thing. So they weren't so enamored with it.
Yeah.
Even to this day, they're not that big on, like, you'll never see my daughter, either of them, posting on Facebook, for example.
Sure.
Oh, that's an old person's thing. That's what they
Yeah.
say.
Yeah. So what did you do different than your parents did in terms of like how they raised you and how you're raising your kids? Do you feel like you took a lot from what your parents did, or did you kind of remix it?
My parents were more old school in terms of how they raised my brother and I.
Yeah.
So there was grounding.
Yeah.
There was certain punishments that I'd rather probably not get into.
Sure.
But I didn't turn into a whack job.
Yeah.
So it's okay. It worked. We took a different approach, and we tried to do a lot more talking calmly. Try not to yell at your children. That's another thing. Don't yell if you can avoid it.
Yeah.
Because that just shuts them down, right? It really does.
Sure.
We tried our best. Didn't always work.
Yeah.
Some moments you just have a heated moment and you're going to explode.
It's crazy.
It happens to everybody, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure you've experienced
Sure.
it.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you and your wife have had a few headbutts.
Yeah.
'Cause
So,
you-
sometimes I say marriage is harder than raising kids.
yeah.
So
Yeah. And one of my favorite comedians, his name's Bill Burr.
okay.
He makes fun of the fact that at some interview with Oprah Winfrey, and she was interviewing somebody who said that the most difficult job in the world is being a mother or a parent, whatever. And he's trying to say, no, it's not the most difficult job in the world. Well, I disagree with him. I think it is very difficult
Yeah.
because you're shaping their minds. You're
Yeah.
shaping their minds for their future.
Sure.
And if you screw up,
Yeah.
that's on you.
Totally. Especially if you hold trauma from your childhood and if you pass it over, it becomes problematic, right?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. So yeah, it is a difficult job, parenting.
So would you say you're more of a new school, like you had new school parenthood towards your kids, or
New school with instilling some values, okay?
Okay.
So we had both of our children work
yeah.
when they were off during the summertime. They both worked as either cashiers at a grocery store or work at a deli counter at one of the meat markets near our house. So they worked for their extra money.
Got it.
And it taught them to understand what it's like to build something, to work and get paid for it. So that's build. You're building something,
Yeah.
okay? And so we didn't just hand them money all the time that they wanted money. We had them work for it, and that helped to instill some discipline. Both of them actually also were dancers for many years.
I did not know that.
Till they were their late teens.
Oh,
they
wow.
were dancers, competitive dancers.
Cool.
And that taught them confidence and poise, which was all we loved it. We thought it was terrific. We thought it was one of the best investments we ever made in our kids.
Did they
And
have-
and it wasn't cheap.
Yeah, I'm sure. Did they have curfew? Like, what did curfew look like?
Yeah, we did have curfews. When they were in their early to mid-teens, we would try and make sure that they're home by 11, 12 o'clock.
Cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's important too. Again, it's not about not trusting them. It's about building that discipline
Sure.
for the future, right? Which they will pass on to their kids, hopefully.
That's
So,
true.
you know, that's how generations work, pal.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
So I have so many questions, man, but
Shoot.
is there something different that you would do now that you've seen it all like come together? Is there one thing that you wish you did that you've didn't do? Like
As
for
a
some
parent, you
yeah,
mean?
yeah. For some people, it's like saying, people who travel for business weren't there a lot, or stuff like that. Does anything at least stand out? And it's okay to say no, nothing stands out.
Yeah, something does stand out. I mean, I used to spend a lot of time. It was more time consuming back in the vinyl days
Yeah,
to prepare music, listen to music and stuff. I used to spend a lot of time doing that and not be with my oldest daughter, Cassandra, because she was more affected by it
yeah,
or impacted by it. That would be the one thing I do regret a little bit. I didn't spend as much time as I could have with her, but she still turned out to be a terrific daughter.
Totally.
You know Cassandra.
yeah.
And,
Of course.
and I don't have any regrets that way. But if that was the one thing I would have changed and done differently, that would have been it. Maybe I could have, waited till she went to bed and did my music, right?
Sure.
When she's in bed. I could have done that.
Do you wish you had more kids?
No.
Okay, 2 is enough.
Two's a party.
Sure.
The way I describe it is one kid changes your life completely.
Yeah.
Number 2 turns you upside down
Okay.
and shakes you. So yeah, especially when they're close together in age.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I think we're done at 1, and I just can't imagine having the emotional capital to have 2, and even distribute that between one and the other.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
If you're happy with one child, that's totally fine. Yeah, totally fine. I don't know how people with 3, 4, and 5 kids do it. I really don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure either.
That's a madhouse.
I like 1 and we're like barely surviving.
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
just, and especially if I'm not sure. I know Lori worked, but back in the day, it's different than now where, I guess division of labor, both of us are career driven, and it's hard to be a parent and be, I guess, not selfish. Like, you have a kid, they didn't ask to be born, so you have to at least give them what they deserve. And it's hard if you are career driven. And that's, part of Daddy Day Club was kind of say, just be more efficient with your time.
Right.
So that was the purpose of it. I was worried, oh God, can I still do the things I want to do? So how was it? Like, did you guys both work?
Oh yeah, we always worked.
And daycare, was there daycare?
Yes, we sent both kids to Montessori school locally before they went to traditional public schools. And we both worked. We had to depend on help from my parents. My parents were very instrumental in helping to babysit and watch our kids when we needed them watched, and other support as well. We had Lori's family, my extended family as well.
Yeah.
So there was support around you. That's important.
Sure.
To have that support. I'm not sure how you're doing it.
Yeah.
Like, tell me how it's affecting your life, being a DJ, a career guy,
Yeah.
a dad, and a husband.
I think, here's the thing, man. Like, ask same question to different people. It depends really their upbringing, and that makes a big difference because some people who, let's say, were born with nothing, living in a 1-bedroom apartment with a kid, would actually have no problem. But you ask a kid who is spoiled to death and now living in a 1-bedroom apartment, it's crazy. Sometimes, like, I can't even microwave my food because we're scared to wake Sophia up. It's exhausting to sneak. I got to sneak home after DJing because when I open the door, she's in the den, but it's an open den. There's no door.
Oh, so you gotta not make
So
noise.
it's just and now with like the housing crisis, it's just harder to get a house. So for me, you don't have that backyard, and just how at least we were raised. We were really spoiled. Our parents worked very hard, and so it's different. I try not to be bitter about it, and it's motivation to work hard, but it's harder living in a condo and being a parent, at least for me, and having a house and being a parent. I know that might sound weird.
No, that makes total sense because I can't imagine raising a child in a more confined space, right?
Yeah.
Do you have a park nearby at least?
We do, thankfully,
Okay.
you know.
Spend lots of time there.
We do. But it's
Yeah.
different, man. It's like, and again, this is just spoiled talk. You got to wait for the elevators. You got to go down. It's a whole process. You want to go, she wants to go to the bathroom right after we just went outside. It's another 15 minutes just to go back upstairs, go to the bathroom, come out. So I don't know. It's definitely very hard. But again, it's all about like the mind. I feel like you just can't, they don't know the difference. The kids don't know the difference of being in a 1-bedroom apartment.
No.
Right?
No. Sophia doesn't know what the difference between one of her cousins or friends might be experiencing living in a house with a backyard. Yeah, she doesn't know. Whether or not it's going to impact her remains to be seen, right?
Sure.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Because it sounds like you're both great parents.
Yeah.
You spoil her to death.
Totally.
Hopefully not too badly.
No.
But you spend a lot of time with her.
Yes.
And that's good.
Yes.
That's really good.
So I was lucky when she was just born. I was doing my university degree, but it was online because COVID.
Okay.
So I spent her first 2 years with her, and I only started working last June.
Okay.
I was always working, but I was working real estate, doing property management. It didn't really affect my relationship with her. Now she's older, and I'm working, but I feel like I do spend a lot of time with her, which is
beautiful.
Great. So
one thing I could say about him, he is very regimented about the time he spends with his daughter, and that's very good.
Sure, yeah.
See, I wasn't that regimented. I wasn't. So like I said, I could have done things a little differently, but you're focusing attention to make sure you spend adequate time with her, and that's good.
And that's the thing too, like with Daddy Day Club, I can't forget the root. Like the whole purpose is to be a good parent. So sometimes I'm like, I can't focus on Daddy Day Club that much because then you're being a hypocrite. You're going against the whole brand.
Yep.
So it does have to be family first, which is hard. Sometimes, you get just overwhelmed, and like sometimes on Fridays, her mom will have her. So we switch. We do bedtime one day and we rotate every other day. So that's how we do it. And the time that I have, I will try to get what I need to do within that time.
Yep.
But like, it's the day of DJing, I'm always like nervous. I got to make sure I have all my stuff, new music, and it's a lot of work. I think it's more of a me thing. Sometimes I get like anxiety, like, oh God, do I have everything? Am I forgetting anything? I've worked at Dirty Martini where I forgot my power bar, man. It's happened, yeah.
Well, they've got one there on the side wall.
No, I mean like my Mac.
Oh, for the
Apple
Mac.
charger. So I've had that.
How did you
I had
manage?
somebody drop it off.
Oh,
But it's just wild.
because you're only going to get like an hour and a half out
and
of it.
I back in the day, those Macs lasted longer battery wise.
Yeah.
So I got away with it. But yeah, man, now it is hard.
Yeah.
Sometimes it is hard to just be a parent. And the one thing that you don't get to say a lot is, and I know it's kind of like taboo to say like, oh, do you ever regret having kids? And people don't actually talk about that. But nobody ever talked about the things of what you do when you do have kids. Like when they're sick, who's taking off work? Who took off work when one of your kids were sick?
It would be, we would alternate. Yeah.
And having a very flexible, for me, one of the priorities over salary is how flexible is your workplace. Thankfully, mine is super flexible, and that gives me a peace of mind.
The bank was too. They were very supportive. Yeah.
And that's great.
And they love family. They're all about employees that have families, and they're really positive on that.
Because daycare is killer, man. Every other day they have something.
Yeah.
It's wild. I had, what do they call it? Hand, foot, mouth disease. Man, my whole hand turned into like red little dots, and it was painful. And it's just one day it's this and one day it's that. And that's hard to manage, especially when you're both working. And it's not like somebody's staying at home with the kid while the other is like the breadwinner and bringing home, and the other's taking care of the house. It's not like that. And I think this generation is very rare to have that.
Have you ever experienced Sophia with 102-degree temperature?
That I have
or
not
higher?
yet. No, thankfully.
Wait till that happens, because it's coming.
Yeah,
That
ear
is-
infections, all that.
Oh my God.
And it rips you apart too. I don't even want to be at work when she's sick.
Oh yeah.
So
It just totally, it's gut wrenching.
yeah,
It's gut wrenching. And we remember going into emergency wards
Oh
with
God.
104-degree temperatures. But what we learned over time, though, is infants and toddlers,
Yep.
their bodies can withstand high temperatures,
Okay.
high fever. Adults cannot.
Yeah.
So the doctor used to tell us, don't panic. It's okay. Their bodies are built for this. It's fine. And we learned stuff like, for example, a temperature or a fever is your body's way of fighting what's invading it.
Sure.
So it's not really the illness. It's a reaction.
Yeah. Okay.
It's a defense mechanism, right?
Makes sense.
So yeah, I hope you don't have to ever experience it.
Yeah, for
But
sure.
man,
It's
that's
part of life,
gut-wrenching.
right?
It's gut-wrenching being in an emergency ward with your kid.
Yeah.
Oh, it's awful.
So how do you manage like staying healthy? And even like right now, we're have a side hustle goals, but like don't forget fitness and health. Sometimes I can't even squeeze it in, and that is like a mental battle that I go through.
Okay.
I can't take in, it's only half an hour, but for me it's like, what am I going to do it when everybody's sleeping in this 1-bedroom apartment, or when I come home, like I want to actually do any physical activity.
You're burnt out. You're tired.
So how did you stay like healthy?
Again, it's about and that's a very good question. It's about having a scheduled regiment of exercise.
Yeah.
So even if you have to build it indoors. So at home I've got what they call a trainer for my bike.
Okay.
So the back wheel gets removed
Oh,
and put
cool.
on top of this trainer that's hooked up to a software.
It's like a Peloton.
Yeah, it's
Like the
exactly
old
like
school.
that. Yeah. And I ride. I
Cool.
ride indoors.
Oh, that's
and I'm
wicked.
watching where I'm riding on my TV set that's right in front of me in the basement. So it takes you through mountains and ranges, and it's really cool.
But how do you do it? That's the thing. It's always, at least for me, the mental battle. Like, how do you get
It
yourself
is.
to do it?
It is. You have to come home. You got to say hi to everybody.
Yeah.
I got to play with my dog Mia.
Yeah.
And that takes a bit of time. And then you put your stuff on and you go downstairs and do it. It's only 20 minutes to half an hour a day, and that's it.
Yeah.
Right?
I have something called Supernatural. It's a VR system.
Supernatural,
It is
okay.
wicked.
Yep.
You get to work out anywhere in the world, and they license music.
Yeah.
And they have like artist series. Like they had a Lil Wayne artist series where it's all coordinated with. There's boxing and then something called flow, where it's like things coming at you and you're just like whacking them. It's pretty wicked,
Oh, okay.
but I'm just exhausted, man. I just can't do it.
I use Zwift. It's
Hmm.
a cycling software, so you could pick different areas of the world to go cycle.
Cool.
And you see other people cycling next to you, and you could race people.
Oh, that's
It's really
cool.
cool. Yeah. And I also take a lot of nutritional supplements,
Good for
which
you.
I think everybody should be doing.
Even that is exhausting.
Oh, I
Trying
know.
to like
It's-
sort it out and,
I know.
and just
I know.
and sometimes when you take them, I just feel like ill, like nauseous.
Well, yeah, because you're injecting a lot of nutrients into your digestive system, and it's reacting. It's like, what the heck is this, right?
Do you drink?
Do I drink alcohol?
Yeah.
On occasion, yeah.
Okay. So like
I've been known.
yeah. So the days of like DJing and drinking, I guess, over.
I avoid it. I'll tell you why. Because at my ripe age right now, if I drink alcohol while I'm spinning,
Yeah.
I got to find a bathroom pretty quick.
Okay, that's true.
So I try and avoid it. Just stick to water, if anything. But even that,
Yeah,
sometimes I have to have a long play ready, or
Sure.
I've made what we call
Piss breaks.
pee breaks. Yeah, a couple of songs mixed
Yeah,
together, so I
yeah.
can go and come back. People think I'm going to do a line of coke, but no, I'm not doing
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
actually going to the bathroom. So.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. The nightlife industry is definitely crazy.
Oh yeah. But you know what? I love it. If I wasn't enjoying the nightlife, I wouldn't continue to do it.
I don't,
To me, it's fun.
and I'm jealous, and I'm happy for you. I won't say jealous, happy for you, because me, honestly, a good part of it is monetary benefit of it.
Yeah.
Because, like I told you, before, back in the day, it was different. My friends would come with me. It would be a whole car full of people. It was fun.
Yeah.
And now it's like lonely. You go, you drive long drives, you set up, and you come home, and it's different.
So you're in a bit of a transitional period, and I was
Yeah,
there. I was
yeah.
there, especially early on when we were raising our kids. I was questioning whether or not I should still be doing this, but I kept doing it. And for me, honestly, you know my lifestyle. I really don't need the money I make at
Yeah.
the club. I don't need it. I can go without it. But for me, it's that rush.
Yeah.
It's fun.
It's fun when it's busy, and
Yeah.
it's so depressing when it's not.
When it's not busy, yeah.
It's just, but the thing is, you have to take the wins and the losses. But let me tell you, when it's an empty club and it's like a snowfall and we got to haul ass and go,
challenging.
it's just like,
it's challenging.
you can bring Tiesto in there and there's going to be zero vibe.
Wouldn't matter, yeah.
So like, I find that is also very difficult.
I find when we came out of the lockdowns, the first few months
Yeah.
was really boring and challenging because nobody was going out. Everybody was still afraid to have any human contact or be in a room with people. But I tell you, once people got more comfortable,
Yeah.
I had never seen, like last January, February, March, which are typically lean months for nightlife in
Yeah.
Toronto, we were slammed
Yeah.
because people finally broke out and said, hey, I've had enough of this sitting at home stuff.
Sure.
I'm going out. And traditionally, months that were dead or slower were really busy, really busy. I was shocked.
Yeah. And then we had like a moment where like patio season was very popular and it eats
Yeah.
away too at like clubs, right?
Yeah,
So it's hard.
yeah. Now, so you came into DJing almost more of a digital guy then, I guess, right?
Yes.
CDs.
My first was a pair of new marks and I was using CDs. And then I transitioned to Serato.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think my first DJ gig was in 2006 at the E Zone, the Brickyard in Etobicoke.
Yeah, yeah.
Nobody would hire me, so I just got my friends and we did that there. And then still nobody would hire me, so I rented the Empress.
Oh,
And
they
we did
boat
the
cruises
Tony Monaco
with
boat
Tony
bash.
Monaco.
Hired myself. We asked Monaco, like, hey, man, do you want to put together like a way back, playback boat cruise?
Wow,
He was
yeah,
up for it.
yeah.
And then shortly after, I auditioned for Way Back Wednesdays
Yes.
at City.
Yes.
Before City, sorry, Frequency. And I got it. And from there, it was history, man.
Beautiful.
It was crazy. And that's the thing. Like, a lot of DJs don't know, like, that's how you basically have to start. And back then, you had to be a DJ and a promoter. Like, you had to bring people. So for me, it was like, let me just, if nobody wants to take a chance on me, I'll just do it myself. And that's what I did. And then from there was at Bananas. And I think you were there as well.
Yeah, Bananas. We both did it for a while.
That
yeah.
was fun, man.
It was a great place.
That was amazing.
Wasaga Beach. Yeah, it was awesome.
And the thing is,
awesome.
people still try to recreate those memories and you can't.
No.
And you lived it during its prime. And I had it during I tasted it.
Yes.
And it was amazing.
Yeah.
It was just like a movie, man. It was like an MTV reality TV show.
One of my favorite nights at Bananas was a May long weekend.
Oh, man.
And it was snowing.
Come on.
It was snowing. And Bananas, you remember, it was an open air
Yeah.
space. People were dancing and partying with winter jackets on.
Wild.
It was hilarious. I loved it though, because they still
Yeah.
showed up. It was slammed. It was packed. People were partying and it was snowing outside.
Crazy.
I loved it.
Yeah. I loved every bit of Wasaga. That was good times.
Yeah.
And then I was at Rock Bar in Hamilton.
Okay.
That was
Rock
a
Bar.
lot
Yeah.
of fun as well.
Hamilton's a very good party place.
It was such a great place.
Yeah.
That is the only place I could play new house music. This was like when EDM was huge.
And they were open to it.
And they were open to it. You
Yeah.
can just play new music and they embraced it.
Yeah.
Crazy story, man.
Instead of giving you those looks.
Yeah, like now
you
I feel
playing?
like it's harder to break records. You have to play it safe. You can't really. I push the boundaries a little bit at Dirty Martini. Like I will do that, or else I don't want to DJ if I can't play at least some tracks that I want to. Like
Yeah.
it's one thing to play for the people, but sometimes when you're a good DJ, the music you like, they will like it too.
Yes.
And that's super important. But this one time at Rock Bar, they brought Hardwell. But the landlord,
Hardwell, really?
Yeah, but the landlords did not pay their utility bill. So it ran on a generator. Can you believe it? It was wild, man.
And it still worked out.
It still worked out. The generator was in the back of this big cord. Man, it was like such fun times, man. Those days, like, I'll never forget it.
Now, one thing I wanted to mention to you as somebody coming from the vinyl world,
Yeah.
like me, because you didn't really experience it.
Nope.
I used to be limited
To what
with
you
my
can play.
library. So
Yeah.
each crate held about 100 records.
Yeah.
And as you know, unless you played off albums, which very rarely would you play off albums,
Yeah.
you played off of 12-inch singles.
Yeah.
So you had 100 songs per crate, 6 to 8 crates. So that's about 600 to 800 songs.
Quick math.
And that's it. That's it. That's
Yeah,
pretty
yeah.
good. The bankers coming out. So that's all you had. So you couldn't be as spontaneous as you can now
Yeah.
with thousands and thousands of tracks.
But that's also very hard, man, because out of your collection, how much tracks are just like, I feel like I'm hoarding music.
yeah, you're hoarding it. Yeah. Because it's more difficult now.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to say. It's actually, although I was limited back then, it's more difficult to program a night now
Yes.
than it was back then.
And that's why I kind of liked it back in the day, because now if you accepting requests, it's like, God, you got to carry everything in this like digital world. Whereas before, I don't know, it's different when you're playing it in venue to venue, because at Rock Bar it was more of a house scene, and it was more like you were the focus. They're facing you. You were putting on a show. Nobody's really asking you for a request, but when you're playing at places like Dirty Martini, you're there to cater to the crowd, right? So it's harder.
And I'll tell you something else. DJs like us,
Yep.
who do a place like Dirty Martini, where you have to please a very wide range of people and musical tastes, it's more difficult for us.
100%.
No disrespect to Joe and
course.
Fabian and guys like that.
Yeah.
They just play 1 beat per minute all the way through the night, okay?
Yeah.
It's all house.
Yeah.
I could do that, sorry to say, guys, with my hands tied behind my back.
Yeah.
You put those guys in a room like Dirty Martini, they'd be lost.
It's man, even with us, it's still very difficult.
Yeah.
It's hard because you then start doubting yourself, because I have in my mind a journey. I know where I want to take them and how to take them, and it's easy for them to take you off the rail, off the track. So, but I guess it is what it is. But
And the crowd's getting smart.
yeah.
So what do you mean you don't have that song? Don't you have Spotify or Tidal on your computer?
Yeah.
Oh my God, they know that we can access
Sure.
these streaming sites to get music. They know.
Yeah.
So you can't hide behind that anymore. Oh, sorry, no, I don't have that yet. What are you talking about? Just go to Spotify and get it.
Yeah. I know.
Or I'll plug my phone into your computer.
But I was waiting for you to say that. Luckily now, like Apple doesn't have the auxiliary cord.
Yeah.
But like, give me a break, man. Yeah, it's tough, man. Like I find it very hard to difficult to DJ now.
It is, because you got so much in your mind, right?
Yeah.
The wide range of genres that are out there.
Sure.
And people's tastes, it's just, it is much more difficult. But what I do like is that the 90s are so much more bigger now than ever. Again,
Yeah.
you got the young kids who want to hear 90s.
Yeah.
And you hear some of the production of that music,
Yep.
it's just as good as or better than what we're hearing today.
They're classics.
Yeah. It's just amazing. I think it's great. And we're talking stuff that's 25 and 30 years old,
Sure.
right?
Good music doesn't expire, man.
No,
Yeah.
no, it doesn't. No. So what's your favorite genre?
Oh man, my favorite genre, to be honest, is hard, because I love house music, but I love also like 90s.
Right.
And I used to love Euro. Like when I was doing the Way Back Wednesdays, I was good because I was passionate about it. But the thing is, I don't like the new. I don't like the A-list Euro. I don't like Mallorca and stuff like that. I actually hate it.
Okay.
I like more of like the Diana Foxes, Silver, just the B-list artists.
Right.
I don't know. Maybe it's a radio thing. If I hear Mallorca, I just can't do it.
So you know what? I'm going to ask you for some guidance, because funny you should say B-list, because Nick Fiorucci, who's putting together that Electric Circus reunion,
Yep.
told me that he wants me to play for my Euro set the B songs.
Oh man.
And I'm like, okay, what does he mean by B songs?
Like Silver, Forever.
Yeah.
Forever in Love.
Yeah.
I like DJ Company, Fly Away.
Right.
I like Culture Beat, Inside Out.
And not necessarily
Mr. Vane. Sorry,
right,
Monaco.
which
Like
started the whole thing, by the way.
Yeah, I can't do those tracks anymore. I like First Base, Heavenly. Man, nobody plays that track. I think what made it special, and I have all the recordings of the Way Back Wednesday.
Yeah.
Shout outs to Remy. He recorded every single one.
Yeah.
I have like all of my
So you could tap it.
Yeah. But
So you like stuff like Rimini Project? Do you like them?
Yeah, but that was good. That was like the 11 o'clock hour stuff and not the red zone stuff. But yeah, I really like Diana Fox.
Okay. So I'm gonna come to you for some advice on tracks because I'm thinking, what does he mean by the B records? Because he wants the other guys to have the ability to play
prime time
the
stuff.
prime time one, and that's fine. I get it.
Sure.
I get it. You can play your Mr. Vanes and your
Like,
whatevers.
like even Wigfield, don't play Saturday night. Play, I think it's thinking
When I
of
think
you.
of you, yeah.
So stuff like that.
Good song,
right? So
what about Special D? Remember those?
I loved you.
That era
you
was good
Special
too.
D, man. That
Late
was
90s, yeah.
Aquagen.
Yes,
It was crazy.
Aquagen,
it was
yes.
really good times, man.
Yeah.
And
Brooklyn Bounce.
Brooklyn, oh my God. But it wasn't accepted that much here. It wasn't, it was more of a European thing.
It was.
So
Well,
it was,
right.
it was a bit different.
So you could play it now. It's fresh.
But I
It'll
don't
sound
think
fresh.
they would like it.
No way.
I'm telling you, it's very hard to please. They don't like the cheesy hands up stuff.
Groove coverage.
Groove coverage was banging.
Oh
man.
boy, I'm hitting them. I'm hitting them.
Groove
Where
coverage was banging.
I'm tickling your fancy,
Remember,
aren't I?
like Bass Hunter?
Yes.
That was cool. Summer
Yes.
Rush was cool. I don't know why they stopped that. They were like the first people to like innovate festivals in Toronto.
Yeah.
That was really crazy stuff.
Funny story about that. So the very first Summer Rush, I was happy to be a part of it. It was put together by Energy 108 back then.
Crazy.
It was on the Toronto Islands.
Oh, wow.
Okay. And I'll never forget the day of. It was steaming hot, blazing sun, and we had to play outside. And the vinyl started to warp.
Brutal.
It started to warp. We had to get umbrellas to cover the sun. Otherwise, our records would have been ruined.
Yeah.
So we noticed it right away. We started practicing, getting ready, warming up, and we're thinking, we can't do this. We're going to ruin our records.
Sure.
So we had to get these big, massive umbrellas to cover the turntables. Yeah.
I've seen that with like CDJs, but because you couldn't see either your laptop or the LCD, so you'd have to get like this cardboard just like covering shade in it and stuff.
Yeah.
What's your backup when your laptop goes wrong?
I've got an iPod plugged in.
Okay.
That iPod that's at the club, and it's always set to a compilation, ready to go. So if it ever crashes, and it's happened.
Yeah.
I think maybe twice since I've been there, the last decade or so. So yeah, it can happen.
I got to ask all my questions, man. I'm going to revert it back to like being a dad, I guess. What is people who don't know if they want to be a dad and like now in this time of age, what advice would you give them? Like, what are the things they got to consider before being a parent?
Before being a parent, number one, don't wait till you think you're ready.
Okay.
Whether it's financially, emotionally, or whatever, because you'll never be ready.
Okay.
You're never going to be able to prepare for what parenting does to your life.
Okay.
It changes it for the better in a lot of ways. Don't get me wrong. I don't regret anything about being a parent.
Okay.
But don't wait and try and set yourself up to be a parent. Just do it, okay? You want to have kids? Have kids. You will morph into it. You will adapt. Human beings have a good way of adapting to things, okay? And you'll adapt to it. You'll adapt to the change in your life, and it's a big change.
Sure.
And like I said earlier, try your best to trust your kids. Because if you don't trust them, they're not going to trust you either. And give them confidence in themselves to make their own decisions. That's the one thing that Montessori school teaches children is to do things on their own. Learn by doing.
Got it.
Is what their motto is, right? What else?
Do you think it was harder for you being a parent to go to your parents and I guess talk about the struggles of being a parent than it is now for maybe like the younger generation, me talking to my parents about the difficulties sometimes of being a parent?
Yeah.
Like, was it like shunned for you to go to your parents and say, hey, like I'm having a hard time mentally just going through this?
My parents were old-fashioned Italians, and they would have none of that.
There you go.
Yeah, so you probably come from a similar background, right? European. So, yeah, they would have, what are you talking about? Like, when I was your age, blah, 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 right? So they'd go off on me that way, and they just shut me down.
And I feel like parents back then, it was just, they actually didn't complain a lot.
Yeah.
Like, they actually never complained, period, about their duty of being a parent. Whereas now it's just like, we're so self-absorbed, and it's just like
It's more difficult because back then they had the left and right hand.
Yeah, that's
That
true.
was part of parenting. That was part of parenting, the left and right hand.
Sure.
Now it's you'll go to jail.
Yeah, that's true. As Russell Peters says.
You touch me, I'll call the cops. You know, like your own kids.
Yeah.
Right. So it's more challenging. You have to do it intellectually. Right.
So how would you know if you shouldn't have kids?
If you should or shouldn't?
Should not.
That's a great question. If your relationship with your spouse or your partner, is volatile,
Okay.
or not on solid grounds, you probably shouldn't have a child. Okay, because people sometimes think that having a child will help a marriage if it's having problems.
Yeah.
I think the opposite.
Okay.
I think it's going to put more stress and pressure. So ensure you've got a solid relationship with your spouse or partner, and then that would be the only thing that you would probably do to be prepared to have children. Yeah.
Okay. Final note, not related to dads. If you could have one artist or group to perform at your wedding, who would it be?
Wow. So could it be a
Anyone,
DJ?
dead or
Could it
alive?
be
Anybody, any artist.
One artist? I'm going to shock you.
Go for it.
You ready?
Don't say Mr. Vane,
No.
Culture Beat.
No. The Rolling Stones.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. At heart, I'm a rock fan.
Okay.
I love classic rock music, and that would be my go-to if I had any choice. The Rolling Stones.
Good for you.
I think Mick Jagger is just the greatest performer ever. Period.
Good for you.
Michael Jackson's a close second.
Crazy. Okay. Second last question. Who do you think should be the next guest on the show?
On your show?
Yeah. Who do you think would be a good person to
Wow.
interview?
You know what? I would say somebody like a Tony Monaco. I think would be perfect.
Interesting.
Because he's come from that guy. You talk about a vast experience and past. He's got it.
Yeah.
He's got it. His first gig, I believe, was at AM 640, The Hog. It was an AM radio station. And that's where I first met him. And he's come a long way. So that might be a consideration
And
for
that'd
you.
be interesting because he's not a parent, so he could give me
And
some
he's not a
different
parent.
insight.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
I really want to bring Benny Cringy from Hats
For
On,
sure.
especially with
You should have them both here.
oh, that would be too funny, man. I think because of the whole mental health, he'd be able to give some great insight.
Yes,
on,
he's very much involved with that. Yes.
Yeah. So
Yeah, he does great events for that.
Yeah.
Support.
Bruno, thanks, buddy.
Ziad, it was my honor and pleasure
I appreciate it,
to
man.
be here. Are you kidding?
Yeah, man.
I hope
that's
to be
good.
back one day and do this again
We'll do it.
about some other topic. Who knows what?
Yeah, man. Shout out to Graham. Thanks again.